Attention passionate Detroit, Lions fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC North and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Detroit Lions' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Detroit Lions fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and Detroit Lions fans. Let's get to the news now, folks. Today we're diving deep into some explosive developments that could shape the future of the Detroit Lions and the NFC North as a whole. You know, the Lions have been building something special in recent years. They've been competitive, they've made the playoffs, and they've shown that they're no longer just a team trying to find its footing. They're a legitimate contender. But as we all know, in the NFL, the landscape shifts quickly, and this offseason might just be the catalyst for a seismic change. And I'm talking about a potential game-changing move that could set the Lions up for a deep playoff run, maybe even a Super Bowl appearance. Let's start by revisiting how far this franchise has come. Over the past 2 seasons, Detroit has been the dominant force in the NFC North, clinching the division title 2 years in a row. That's no small feat, especially considering the history of the division, which has been filled with storied franchises and fierce rivalries. But what's interesting is that behind these successes, there's been a sense of unfinished business. 2 years ago, the Lions made a deep run to the NFC Championship game, a fantastic achievement for a team still relatively young in its rebuild. They pushed hard, but ultimately, they lost a tough battle to the San Francisco 49ers after giving up a significant lead in the second half. That game left a bitter taste, but it also proved that the Lions are capable of competing at the highest level. Fast forward to last season, and things got even more interesting. The Lions, with their high-powered offense and improving defense, entered the playoffs as one of the top seeds in the NFC. They faced the Washington Commanders in the divisional round, and despite Detroit's strong season, they were stunned at home by the Commanders, who not only beat them but did so convincingly, smashing the Lions' hopes of a Super Bowl run. That loss was another missed opportunity, and it's left many fans wondering, what's missing? What does this team need to push over the top? Well, the answer is pretty clear on paper. The Lions have been arguably one of the best teams in the league, behind only the Kansas City Chiefs over these last couple of seasons. But there's a glaring weakness that could hold them back, an area that needs urgent attention if they want to truly contend. And that's where this story takes a fascinating turn. You see, the Lions have been in a bit of a tricky spot this offseason, not just because of their on-field performance, but also because of what's happening behind the scenes. It's the classic case of brain drain, and it's affecting their coaching staff as well as their roster. Detroit's head coach, Dan Campbell, has been a revelation. He's been the architect of this rising powerhouse, making some excellent hires, especially on the offensive side with Ben Johnson, who has been a genius at calling plays, and Aaron Glenn on defense, who's done a solid job building up the secondary. But here's the kicker, both of those guys are now being sought after by other teams. Ben Johnson is headed to become the head coach of the Chicago Bears, and Aaron Glenn is set to take over as the head coach of the New York Jets. That's a huge loss for Detroit, and it highlights the importance of securing top-tier talent at every level to maintain their competitive edge. Now, the Lions are in a position where they need to act quickly. They can't afford to let their infrastructure weaken, especially with their roster still needing some key pieces. And right at the top of that list is pass rush. You see, Detroit's biggest weakness has been their inability to consistently generate pressure on the quarterback. In today's NFL, where a high-powered passing game can make or break a team's season, having a dominant pass rusher can be the difference between a deep playoff run and an early exit. And that's why the potential trade for Micah Parsons from the Dallas Cowboys has generated so much buzz among fans and analysts alike. Now, for those of you who haven't been following closely, Micah Parsons is widely regarded as one of the most disruptive defensive players in the league today. In just 4 years in the NFL, he's already amassed an impressive resume. He's recorded 52, 5 sacks, 63 tackles for loss, and has been a 4-time Pro Bowler. His ability to line up across from offensive tackles and wreak havoc in the backfield is unparalleled. And as Bill Barnwell from ESPN pointed out, Parsons might just be worth at least 2 first-round picks, maybe even more. That's because he's not just a good player, he's a game changer, a player who can elevate an entire defense and turn the tide of games single-handedly. What makes this even more compelling is the fact that Parsons is on the trade block because the Dallas Cowboys are in a tricky financial situation, with the salary cap space that might limit their ability to keep him long-term. Barnwell suggested that Parsons' market value could reset the entire market at his position, possibly setting a new benchmark for what top-tier pass rushers are worth financially. And that opens the door for the Lions, who currently have over $48 million in cap space as of August 1, to make a serious run at acquiring him. Detroit's front office is known for being aggressive when it comes to improving their roster, and with their abundance of draft picks, 2 first-rounders in 2026 and 2027, plus multiple third-round picks, they can put together a package that would be hard for Dallas to refuse. Imagine that, Lions fans, adding Parsons to this already talented defense. You'd have a front that can pressure every quarterback, disrupt passing lanes, and force turnovers at a rate that would make opposing offenses quiver. It would be a game-changing move that could solidify Detroit's status as a true Super Bowl contender. And let's not forget, Parsons' production over his 4 NFL seasons is nothing short of spectacular. He's proven he can perform in the biggest moments, and his presence on the field could help mask some of the other defensive weaknesses. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. What would Detroit have to give up? Well, Barnwell's projections suggest that a package of 2 first-round picks, a second-rounder in 2027, and a third-rounder in 2026 could be enough to land Parsons. That's a hefty price, but in today's NFL, a player of his caliber is worth close to that. And considering the Lions' window for contention is still wide open, especially with their core talent and coaching staff, making such a move makes perfect sense. Plus, it's not just about adding Parsons for this year or next. This could be a long-term investment that transforms Detroit's defense into a nightmare for opposing passers. And let's talk about the bigger picture for a moment. The Lions are in a pivotal moment. Their recent success has built momentum, but to truly solidify their place among the league's elite, they need that extra edge, something that a player like Parsons can provide. It's about pushing the boundaries, about making a statement that Detroit is here to stay, and that they're willing to go all in for greatness. The AFC and NFC are filled with teams that are constantly making bold moves, and the Lions want to be right there among them, competing at the highest level year after year. This potential trade isn't just about one player. It's about signaling to the entire league that Detroit is serious. That they're willing to invest in their future, to take risks, and to do whatever it takes to bring a Super Bowl to the Motor City. Because, at the end of the day, every Lions fan dreams of that trophy being hoisted in Ford Field, of seeing their team celebrated as champions, of finally ending decades of frustration and disappointment. And I know, deep down, that Lions fans are hungry for that moment. They've seen glimpses of greatness, felt the excitement of playoff victories, and endured the pain of close calls. But this offseason could be the one that pushes them over the edge. With the right moves, the right acquisitions, and a little bit of luck, Detroit could be on the verge of something truly historic. And this potential trade for Micah Parsons might just be the move that puts them firmly in that position. Now, I want to emphasize that nothing is set in stone yet, but the signs are pointing toward a very real possibility. The Lions have the cap space, the draft capital, and the motivation to make a splash. And if they pull this off, it could be the start of a new era, one where Detroit not only competes but dominates and finally brings home that elusive Super Bowl trophy. So, Lions fans, what do you think? Is this the move that could propel your team to the next level? Would you be willing to part with some draft picks for a player like Parsons? Or do you think the price is too high? I want to hear your thoughts in the comments below because your opinion is what makes this community so special. Remember, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned, stay passionate, and let's keep this Lions momentum going strong. This is just the beginning of what could be an incredible journey for Detroit, and I couldn't be more excited to share it with all of you. Stay loyal, stay loud, and let's keep dreaming big.